Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Timely Action Hour. This is the show where we talk about everything from comic books to films and everything in between. My name is Aidan, and I hope that you're doing well today. So in this video, I am going to be doing a review of a special comic, special to me and to so many other people. And before I get into this, I want to do a little preamble like I did with a previous video. So when the Fantastic Four hit the scene in November of 1961, they quickly became a success, and Stan Lee and Jack Kirby wanted to continue that trend of success, mainly because their publisher Martin Goodman pushed them to continue that success, but they had come up with this idea based on a few different things. Jack Kirby had read a story about a woman who was, so full of adrenaline that she was able to lift a car to save her son. And that gave Kirby the idea of a character with incredible strength. And Stan Lee had wanted to do a monster character based on the 1930s film adaptation of Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein. And the two men merged those two ideas, and that became The Incredible Hulk #1, published in the spring of 1962. Now, this obviously is a reprint. I paid $6 Canadian for this at Toronto Fan Expo back in 2024. So it's been a couple of years since I bought this, but I am building to something, and you'll see in the next couple of videos. But basically, this for me is one of the most important comics because the Hulk has always been a personal favorite of mine. I've grown up having issues controlling my anger. As I've gotten older, I've gotten better at it. But when I was a kid and teenager, it was difficult for me to, not go into an emotional outburst when I was upset. And so the Hulk always spoke to me because it's about a man who has control issues, but when he loses his temper, he becomes a giant monster. But that will all come into play a lot later with the whole psychological aspect when Peter David I forget the gentleman who wrote the Hulk before Peter David, but he planted the seed and Peter David cultivated it into the Hulk that we know now. But it all goes back to Jack Kirby and Stan Lee creating a character who's a monster. But as the cover suggests, the strangest man of all time. Is he man or monster? Or is he both? Fantasy as you like it. But yeah, so The Incredible Hulk #1. Like I said, this is a reprint, but I can still be, but I still want to be gentle. So like all Silver Age comics, this begins with a cool splash page teasing what will happen in the issue. But if you'll notice, the Hulk is gray, whereas we know him as green. Well, originally he was gray because that looked more monstrous. But starting from issue 2, the character was colored green because it was easier to print. And that's the only reason why he changed. But later on we learn within the story that it's a different facet of his personality. But anyway, so in New Mexico there is a military base where they are testing a new bomb which harnesses gamma radiation. And the man who designed the bomb and who is the foremost authority on gamma radiation is a man named Dr. Bruce Banner. And General Thaddeus Ross, who is in charge of the military side of this operation, is growing impatient that the test is taking too long, but Dr. Banner wants to make sure that every precaution has been taken. And there's this man named Igor, who's a lab assistant, who is also impatient, but I'm going to spoil a lot of this, but as we later learn, he is a Soviet spy. And we also meet Ross's daughter, Elizabeth, aka Betty, and she is attracted to Bruce. But we see a teenager drive his car into the testing area, and Bruce sees him and runs out to help him. And as it turns out, he was dared to, sneak past the guards by some other kids, but the bomb is about to go off, and Igor expedites the detonation so he can get rid of Banner, so he can take his notes back to Mother Russia. But all of this culminates in the bomb exploding and Banner being engulfed in the radiation. And he seems fine at first, but as night falls, the Geiger counter in the room starts going off and he changes into a monstrous form. Now Rick Jones, the boy who he saves, is A, horrified, but B, also wants to help because, you saved my life, I'm indebted to you, so I'm gonna run after you in the night and try to help you. Then as the second part of the story begins, the army is chasing after them, and this one soldier says, "Fan out, men, we've got to find that Hulk." And thus a name is given to Bruce Banner's other self, a name which is destined to become immortal. Now, ironically enough, in the 2010s, Al Ewing would write a series called The Immortal Hulk, which I haven't finished yet, but I'm really enjoying, and it's one of the few modern comics that I enjoy, so I do intend to review that later on. But I just thought I should point that out because, it's pretty interesting that even back when this was created, they were setting up unknowingly future stories. But the military police can't find them, and so they see, looks like they're going towards the cottages where the staff live. We'll go check over there. So Hulk is articulate, and he can speak in normal sentences, which is, how he is presented in the early Jack Kirby issues. But later on, he'll become Hulk sad, Hulk the strongest one there is, Hulk angry, Hulk smash. Eventually that will come into play, but, for the first couple of years, Hulk is articulate. But Hulk is like, there's something drawing me towards this one cottage. I guess that's my home. I'll go in there. And Rick is like, man, this guy is, crazy. Anyway, so Igor is in Bruce's cottage, ransacking it, looking for his notes on the gamma bomb to bring back to the Soviets. He gets startled by them, pulls out his pistol, and starts shooting. And Hulk shrugs off the bullets. And there's this one bit that's very interesting where Hulk grabs the gun and he says, "So, this is what the puny humans fear." Crash! He's like, that's not possible. You aren't human. Human. Why should I want to be human? And then he throws Igor. Igor gets knocked out. And then they find the notes. And so Rick is like, huh, okay, so here are the notes. And then he sees the picture of Bruce. He's like, ah! That face! I know it! It's so weak and soft, I hate it! It's you, though. Ah, it can't be me. No, I'm a monster. Ah! That's essentially what happens. So anyway, the sun rises and Hulk changes back into Banner. And they're like, okay, well, we gotta skedaddle because the army's coming. But then the army breaks down the door and they're like, what happened here? And then they arrest Igor. And Betty and Rick comfort Bruce, and the army guys are like, no, he looked more like a bear, no, he looked more like an ape. It's pretty funny. But then they leave, so Bruce is like laying back, sitting back in his chair. He's like, oh my gosh, this is a nightmare. And I love these bottom three panels where he realizes that it's going to happen forever. Where he's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to continuously change into that monster. So then we cut over to the prison where Igor uses this like weird transmitter that's grafted onto his thumbnail to send a message back to Russia, and then the Soviet officials are all scared to pass the knowledge on to their superior, a man named the Gargoyle. Now the Gargoyle is this mutated freak who has a high-ranking position in the Soviet government, and he hears about the Hulk through this message that Igor sent. So he gets, on a ship to go to the coast. Then he gets in a rocket that shoots him up into the stratosphere, and then he ejects as the Americans launch their counterstrike against that rocket that blows up, and then he parachutes down into America, and then he drives to the base to find the Hulk. And so Bruce and Rick are driving away from the base, but then Bruce starts to change. He's like, ah! And so they're like, well, I guess we'll go that way. And then the Gargoyle follows them. And then we cut over to General Ross's place where he and his daughter Betty are talking. And she's like, oh, that Bruce Banner, he's so dreamy. But oh, that Hulk, he's so scary. And Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross is like, don't worry, honey. I'll hunt down the Hulk if it's the last thing I do. And thus, his arch nemesis is born. But Gargoyle gets the drop on them while Betty is getting some fresh air and is startled and faints because of the Hulk. And we get this cool advertisement for Amazing Fantasy and the Fantastic Four. So Gargoyle tries to shoot them, and he shoots them with this special knockout gas. He leaves Betty, but Rick and Hulk are all unconscious, and they actually are like mind controlled by it, so they go back to the boat. Then he takes them to Russia, but since they're traveling to the other side of the world, the dawn causes Hulk to change back into Banner, and Gargoyle's like, huh? Oh, I guess you're that monster, but you can change back, so can you change me back? And so Bruce does manage to use radiation to cure Gargoyle of his disfigurement. And the Gargoyle looks at this portrait of Khrushchev and is like, I hate you. You caused me to become this monster by making me do experiments. Well, no longer. I shall die as a man, not a monster. So he sends he sends Bruce and Rick home. And then he blows up the base. And they're like, well, I guess that's the end of that. But, you know, dawn is coming. And the Hulk comes out at night, but that will change in issue 2 because they're like, well, that was silly. Let's move on to how about he just changes when he's angry. That's better. And what if he's green? But yeah, that's the story of the Incredible Hulk #1. In my opinion, it is one of the best comic issues I've ever read. And it is the first appearance of my second favorite Marvel Comics character, my favorite being Spider-Man. But yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being horrible and 10 being incredible, I'd have to give this a 10 out of 10. The art is gorgeous, the writing is great, but although a little hammy, but you know, it lends itself to the horror action genre. But yeah, definitely recommend it. And if you're new to my show and want to check out more videos like this, then please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you didn't like it, then I apologize. You can hit the dislike button. And share this with your friends if they're interested in this sort of content. And in the description of this video, I'll leave links to my podcast. So if you'd like to hear me discuss the same topics but don't have time to watch a full video, then please subscribe there, share that with your friends, and I'll also leave a link to my social media profile. So if you'd like to send me a message or just stay up to date on my channel, then you can send me a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, or Discord. And I'll also leave links to my Patreon page and merch store, so if you'd like to support this show financially, I would greatly appreciate that. And you get a slew of benefits on Patreon, like early access to videos and episodes of the podcast. You can also read my original writing projects, and you can watch my Patreon exclusive videos. And in the merch store, you can buy a t-shirt or a coffee mug or a long sleeve shirt with my channel's logo on it and funny quotes. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I sincerely hope that you all have a wonderful day. Bye.